Good morning everyone and welcome back. This is class 6, subject social science, chapter number 9 of history, and the name of the chapter is Vital Villages and Thriving Towns. Means growing of towns and villages we are talking here near about 3000 years to 2000 years ago. And this is our summary lecture, as we have already covered the chapter in 2 lectures in which we have covered all the topics of this chapter. Now we are going to recapitulate all the topics we have covered. So again, let's see the topics. Topics to be recapitulated are iron tools and agriculture, and along with irrigation that was started to increase the production in agriculture. Number 2, people in villages. There we have done in northern part of India and Tamil region, which people were living there in the villages. Number 3, Tamil composition. There will discuss about the Tamil literature Sangam. Number 4, finding out about cities. The ways of finding out about cities we will recapitulate here again. Then Mathura, the city of different functions. Next is crafts and craft persons. What type of craft that was done during that particular time. Then Shreni and the role of Shreni will discuss. And at last we'll take Arika Medu settlement. And obviously about Rome. So these are the topics we are going to recapitulate today. Iron tools in agriculture. Iron plowshare and transplantation method of growing paddy crop increased the production of the crops. As this we have already covered in chapter number 6, that farmers started using iron plowshare on the place of wooden that was used to increase the production, as well as the method of transplantation, the paddy crop that was also started by the farmers. Evidences of iron tools were found during this particular time, and these tools were sickle, tongs, axe, and obviously plowshare. Along with it, irrigation was also started, and the different irrigation work that were done, canals, tanks, and artificial lakes were built for irrigation. So what were the irrigation works? Canals, tanks, and artificial lakes, as well as wells also. And due to that, the production of the crops that was increased, and that really responsible for benefit of the farmers as well as the rulers. They were getting more taxes. Then people in villages. As I told you that there were 2 parts basically divided. On the basis of those 2 parts, people in southern parts of subcontinent or Tamil region we can write here, there were large land owners were known as Vellalar. The people those were holding the large lands, they were known as Vellalar. The second category, it was ordinary plowman, or the people those were the farmers those were having small land masses, they were known as Ujhavar. They are in Tamil region. Number 3, landless laborers in the Tamil region were known as Kadaisiyar. And one more category it is described there, slaves were known as Adimai. So these were different categories of the people those were working on the field there in Tamil region. Then about the northern part of India or northern part of subcontinent, the village headman was known as the Gram Bhojka. Village headman was the person who was the largest land owner, who was having the largest land there in the village, and he was known as the village headman, and the name given to him was Gram Bhojka. Independent farmers, those were small land owners, were known as Grihapatis in northern part. There were dasas and karmakaras who did not have their own land. They were just working on others' land. The karmakaras and dasas, they were landless laborers basically. They were working as laborers on others' land. Now, as I told you that Gram Bhojka, the headman, was very powerful person and his post was hereditary also. The same family was holding that post of Gram Bhojka. Now, what were the reasons that he was powerful person in the village? First, he used to collect the taxes from the villagers. He had slaves and hired workers to cultivate his land. He was not doing any of work on his field. He was having hired workers who were working on his land. And he was functioning like a judge as well as sometimes as a policeman also. So this is all about the functions done by Gram Bhojka, who was the largest land owner there in northern parts of subcontinent and was known as Gram Bhojka. Now the next topic, it was Tamil literature Sangam. Some of the earliest works in Tamil are known as Sangam literature. These texts are composed around 2300 years ago. These texts are called Sangam as they were composed in assemblies known as Sangam. So what about the Sangam? What is a Sangam? This is the earliest literature work in Tamil that was composed near about 2300 years ago, and the Sangam name it received because it was composed in the assemblies known as Sangam. This was the text there in the Tamil region. The next topic, it was ways of finding out about early cities, means how we are able to get the information or the different things about the earlier cities. There were different ways, like first was collection of short stories, travelers and sailors, archaeologists, and along with these one we can take sculptures. Sculptures means the art of building statue, and coins also, because coins, if archaeologists find the coins of any particular time, we can get the information through those coins also. Now we take these all ways one by one, which are given there in the chapter of that particular time to explain about the that time. First is collection of short stories. These short stories were basically composed by the ordinary people. So let's discuss. Jatakas. Jatakas were stories that were probably composed by ordinary people and written by Buddhist monks. Means these Jatakas were the short stories of ordinary or the common people, and later on they were written by Buddhist monks. This, and definitely if the stories they were on the life of ordinary people, so they are telling us about the people of that particular time. Then next is, in many cities archaeologists found rows of pots. Those were arranged one on the top of other. These were known as ring wells. So this is one of the thing that archaeologists found there in different cities. And what were they? They were ring wells. And what was the use of these ring wells? They were basically used as toilets, as drain, and as the garbage dump. So this was the use of ring wells. Those were found there by the archaeologists. And different ceramic objects were also found, means the objects were made up of ceramic, chini mitti. Okay, so archaeologists, they discovered the homes of that particular time also. Those were made up of wood, mud, bricks, thatch. So these the materials they were used in making or in building the houses also. Along with it, different sculptures were also found. The statues were also found of that particular time. These sculptures, they were kept there, and different decorated railings, pillars, they were also found. So these are different ways by which we can get the information about the earlier cities. And the next is travelers and sailors. We know that they visited different cities. They had also been detailed account. They had given the detailed account of those cities. An unknown Greek sailor described about Bharuch, the gulf in very narrow at Barigaja. Ships had to be steered in by skillful and experienced local fishermen who were employed by the king. So what they are explaining about Bharuch. Bharuch is a place in Gujarat, and this word in Greek language is called as Barigaja. And this narrow gulf at Barigaja, there are different ships they were kept, and they were kept there by the very skillful and experienced local fishermen, because it was very narrow place. And these fishermen, they were employed, or the work given to them by the king. Then import into Barigaja were wine, copper, tin, cloth, gold, etc. Import means the things those were brought from other places to Barigaja. They were wine, copper, tin, cloth, gold, etc. And some materials they were exported also, means they were sent to other places also. They were export from the town included carnelian, silk, perfume, etc. Carnelian was a type of stone. So these were the things those were exported from there. Then gifts were brought by merchants or the traders to the king. As in the previous chapter also we discussed that the tributes were there. Those were given to the rulers to please them. So these merchants were also giving different gifts to the rulers of the kings. Archaeologists also found the evidences of coins. These earliest coins were punch-marked coins. They were made up of silver and copper. So archaeologists also found the coins by which we came to know that the people, they were exchanging the things through coins. And these earliest coins were punch-marked coins. Why were they known as punch-marked? Because the design was there. The design were punched on the metal. And what was the metal used? Copper and silver were used for making these punch-marked coins. So these were the ways by which we come to know about different cities. The next topic, it is Mathura, the city with different functions. Different functions those were performed there in Mathura. First, it was an important settlement more than 2500 years ago. Means that particular time it was the important settlement there where people were living. It was a center for fine sculpture. As I told you, sculpture means the art of making statues. So different fine sculpture was found there at Mathura. Then the third is Mathura was also a religious center, means it was the place for the different religious centers, like there were Buddhist monasteries, Jaina shrines, and important centers for the worship of Lord Krishna. So that's why we can say that Buddhist monasteries were present, so that is related to Buddhism. Jaina shrines, the holy places for Jainas, so it is related to Jainism. And as we know, still it is the important center for worship of Lord Krishna. Still it is there. So earlier also it was the important center for worship of Lord Krishna also. That's why we can say Mathura was the religious center. Next is it became the second capital of Kushanas around 2000 years ago. Kushanas that were also the famous kingdom there in the subcontinent, and the famous ruler of Kushana was Kanishk. That we will be doing in later chapters, basically in detail about Kushanas. So it was the second capital of Kushanas. Then the people there in the city were basically merchants, traders, garland makers, and perfumers, basket makers, weavers. Okay, and the people in the villages, as we have already discussed about them, that different farmers were there, different names we have already discussed, and along with them different other people were also living there, like cobbler or different we have discussed there in the villages. Along with the farmers, there were the people, those were cobbler, carpenters, potter, blacksmith. Okay, so here in the villages, the farmers and herders, they were providing food for the people in cities. Adjoining means nearby. The people in nearby villages, they were providing food to the people in cities as they were growing different crops. So this is all about Mathura. That was the important settlement there near about 2500 years ago. The next is crafts and craft persons, means what type of craft work was done during that particular time. As we discussed about the craft work, the main craft that was found by the archaeologist, it was the special type of pottery known as the northern black polished ware. This was the special kind of pottery found by the archaeologist, and the name it received because it was black in color and it was found there in northern parts. So that's why the name was given northern black polished ware. It was such a fine pottery found by the archaeologist of that particular time. The manufacturing of cloth was also important of that particular time. Important centers for manufacturing cloth were Varanasi in north and Madurai in south. So these were two centers for manufacturing cloth. Now, as one more topic we discussed in the previous lectures, they were the rules of spinning and weaving. We discussed there are different women, they were working there in the workshops, and the work was supervised by the special official, that was the official of the ruler, the person who was who had the duties from the ruler. So this is all about that. So here we discussed about the manufacturing of cloth. It was done, and main center Varanasi and Madurai. The next is Shreni. Shreni, it was basically the association formed by craft persons and merchants. They were known as Shrenis, means the group of people or association of craft person and merchant was Shreni. They were also functioning different functions, like number one, Shrenis of craft persons were providing training, raw material, and distributed finished products. So what was the role of the Shreni of the craft person? They were providing training, they were providing raw material, and after completion of the product, they were distributing the finished product also. Second is Shrenis of merchants organized the trade. The merchants' main task, it was trading, so they were organizing the trade. The next is Shrenis also served as bank. So as we know that banks are there to deposit the money, to get the interest on that money. So these Shrenis were working as bank, because the rich people, they were depositing the money there, and some of the interest was used for different religious centers like monasteries. They were using that interest for development of the different religious institutions. So this was the role of Shreni. Our next topic, it was Arika Medu. Arika Medu basically was the important settlement in southern part of India, in Puducherry. It was the coastal settlement. So here we'll discuss that different type of material that was found by the archaeologist at Arika Medu settlement. Arika Medu in Puducherry was a coastal settlement. A massive structure was found at this site. Warehouse. Massive structure means big structure or big house. Warehouse, or you can say godown. It was found at this site. Along with it, different other finds that include pottery like amphorae, stamped red glazed pottery, etc. Amphorae was the long double-handed jar, and the stamped red glazed pottery, it was also known as Aretine. This Aretine name was given after a city name there in Italy, and it was red in color. It was made by pressing the clay. So this is all about the pottery found there at Arika Medu. Then small tanks have been found which were used to dye cloth. To dye cloth means to color the clothes. For some small pots were found, and that was assumed that these pots were used, these tanks were used for coloring the clothes. Beads from semi-precious stones and glass were also found at this site. Means these were different things those were found, and along with it some things like Roman lamps, glassware and gems were also found at the site of Arika Medu. Roman lamps were found, that is showing that might be the trade was done between Roman Empire and the Indian subcontinent. Glassware means the different products made up of glass was found. Gems that related to the different beads, those were precious stones, were also found. So these were different finds that we received the information from the archaeologist about Arika Medu settlement. Next is Rome. As we discussed that Rome was the important city there in Europe, and it was capital of one of the largest empire in Europe. So Rome is one of the oldest cities in Europe. Rome was the capital of one of the largest empires there in Europe, and Augustus was one of the most important emperor of this Roman Empire. This Augustus, who was ruling near about 2000 years ago. So this is all about the Roman Empire or the city Rome. Now, what was found by the archaeologist there? It was city made of bricks, and rulers built temples and palaces. They also built amphitheaters. Rulers, they built temples, palaces, and in these temples and palaces even the marble was used. And amphitheaters were just like the theaters we are using now to watch movie. They were also having the capacity of different chairs, and the people, they used to sit and watching the different shows there. And one more thing that was found, huge aqueducts. Aqueducts were also built there. Aqueducts means canals, or just like small rivers. So they were built to supply water in different parts of the city for bathing or different other purpose like toilet, fountain. So this is all about the Rome we have done in the chapter. So along with this topic, we have recapitulated all the topics covered in this chapter. I hope that you have understood all the topics now. Now it's time for homework, and in homework there is one assignment. We will quickly see the assignment. You will be getting this assignment there on Edquark. True, false. Gram Bhojka also functioned as judge and sometimes as a policeman. You will write true or false there. Mathura was an important center for worship of Lord Shiva. Number 3, the Tamil term was found in Sangam literature. Terms, Tamil text. Ring wells were used for bathing. Stamped red glazed pottery known as Aretine ware. So this is all about the true false, and this part you will do there in your book. This is given as question number 1 in your book. So no need to do this question in your register. You just complete this. No, that you have already done in the book exercise. This is not given in the book exercise. This is the another question or of assignment. So this you will do there in notebook itself. Sorry for that. Assignment question number 1. Then question number 2, it is fill in the blanks. The post of Gram Bhojka was dash. There were independent farmer, also known as dash. The association of craft persons and merchants were known as. Stamped red glazed pottery was known as dash ware. So quickly we are taking that. You will be getting it there on it Quark. Punch marked coins were made up of. Dash are tall double-handled jar and contained liquids such as wine and oil. Question number 3. Why were Varanasi and Madurai famous? How did dasas and karmakaras earn a living? Who was dasas and karmakaras? What are ring wells? That we discussed there in the chapter. Make a list of occupation of the people who lived in Mathura. Why some of the earliest works in Tamil known as Sangam literature? 9th, whose dynasty's capital was Mathura? What is northern black polished ware? So these questions, the short questions you will be doing in your register again, I am reminding you. And this chapter will be having the pen paper test. So read the chapter very carefully. Then the homework solution of lecture 2, fill in the blanks. We have done Vellalar. The first answer, it is Vellalar. Second, the Gram Bhojka often got his land cultivated by slaves and hired workers. So check your answer. Slaves and hired workers will come. Plowmen were known as Ujhavar in Tamil. Most Kriyapatis were smaller landowners. So this is first question. The second question answer, this question is there in your book, the first and as well as the second question. So check the answers there in the book. Ring wells were used for drainage. Answer is the B. Punch marked coins were made of silver. Number 3, it was Mathura was important religious center. Number D, shrines were associations of craft persons. Here on the place of shrine, as I told you, Shreni will come. The third question, it was explain the role of or functions of Shreni. Functions of Shreni. Shreni of craft persons provided training, raw material and distributed finished products. Shrenis of merchants organized the trade. Number 3, these Shrenis also served as bank. Explain the term city with many functions, giving an example of Mathura. By taking example of Mathura, we have explained here, it was an important settlement near about 2500 years ago. It was a center for fine sculpture. Mathura was also a religious center that you will explain yourself. Buddhist monasteries, Jaina shrines, an important center for worship of Lord Krishna. Question number 5, it was what was the purpose of small tanks that are found in Arika Medu? The small tanks have been found in Arika Medu which were used to dye clothes. So this was the homework solution of lecture number 2. I hope that you have understood all the topics there. Then we will be having the pen paper test of this chapter. So we will be meeting again with the next chapter. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.